Welcome to Dualshock'd, the Brotherhood of Geeks PlayStation podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brett J. Rasmussen, and over here I got my other co-host,
Guru Blaze.
Yeah, what is up, my man?
Not too much. Dude? You know, it's actually really funny. Whenever you shout loud enough, my speakers just cut out for like a second.
every time it just cuts out. It goes
probably to save themselves from blowing up. I said it's probably to save themselves from blowing up.
Yeah. Well, that's what I do. I blow stuff up.
Oh, yeah. I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying my speakers can't handle that high increase in volume so fast. Apparently.
Yeah. Good. But yeah, how you been doing, Guru Blaze?
Okay, just chilling.
Just okay. Just relaxing, just chilling like a villain. Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you been playing? What have you been doing? What's been going on? What have you been playing through?
Let's see. Right now, still got to get back on my playthrough of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Okay.
And would be the most recent one. I did pick up Last of Us Part 2, but haven't started it. I got it installed and ready to go, but have not started it.
Okay.
Innumerable other games that I'm like partway through exist as well, but like those would be the most recent. I am also like on and off play. Like I started playing through the Marvel Spider-Man game because I just hadn't picked it up, but I borrowed it from a friend and I lent him my copy of Jedi Fallen Order because he hadn't played that. And I beat it.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, I love Marvel Spider-Man, and I am so excited for Miles Morales. Oh, God, I can't wait. Like, I'm going to get that PS5, and I'm going to get Miles Morales, and I'm going to have a good old time. Like, just regardless, like, the base that they have with that Insomniac made with Marvel Spider-Man is phenomenal. It's amazing, and I absolutely love it. It's perfect. So good. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It wouldn't be like a first day purchase probably. And it's like, I know the games are phenomenal, but it's like, and I think he's a wonderful character, but I don't have an intrinsic interest in Spider-Man. Like, I'm a huge Marvel geek, like comic-wise, and, I don't buy physical comics, but it's easier to read them digitally for the record. Yeah. But, like... And Spider-Man's awesome. He has some of the best villains. He's great. The one I'm playing through is great. Like it's very reminiscent of the Arkham series combat mechanic, which I love. So it's like simple. It's because I usually like complexity. I always like complexity, but it finds a decent balance. Like same with Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, which are phenomenal.
Yeah,
it just finds a good balance between the mechanics and absolutely simplistic control scheme relatively, like when compared to like an actual fighting game, like what you would have to do. It basically does all the cinematic flourish for you, which is sometimes just like, I want to do that,
Yeah, no, and that was one of the best things about like that.
But but basically my point being is that that's the main reason. Like I definitely am interested to play that one. When it comes at some point, but it's like I've never been that like the Hulk is my favorite like since childhood, and I find a litany of other Marvel and DC characters very interesting, but Spider-Man just like I don't know, like he's entertaining. Like again, it's like this weird. It's like the same reason I never really got into watching Game of Thrones because it's like. For the same reason, like with Game of Thrones being like a complete parallel to the Spider-Man thing, it's like I've seen a couple episodes like throughout the series, and it's like it's an amazingly well made and done show. Like from what I've seen and like what I know a lot of the story just by hearsay, whatever. But it's like unlike Lord of the Rings, which like I could go into at any time, like no matter what time of day, like I don't have the intrinsic like want to get into it, even though I feel like in both cases, I feel like I should be much more into it, given what my interests are and knowing that about myself.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a thing that's just not there to the same degree, or at least not to the degree in like where immediate initiation of acquisition would be, what I want. Like,
Yeah.
oh my, like, there's some times where I'll see something and be like, all right, I need to literally right now delve into this and learn everything I can know about it for the next 5 hours.
Oh.
But I've gotten to the point where there's fewer things that do that because I've delved into almost all of them, and the only ones I haven't were ones that just don't interest me for the same reason.
Okay.
But it's a small list.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that the Hulk is your favorite because, like, for me, like, I love the X-Men. I actually like the X-Men is what I was like, oh yeah.
I love the X-Men too. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's just my personal, like, singular favorite.
Oh, that's
like,
fine.
I love the X-Men. I love, like, dude, Hellfire Club, any story with, like, dude, fucking Cape, like, I could go all day. Like, fuck, yeah, the Avengers, I like, basically, I don't know, like, again, Spider-Man was, like, the first and foremost with Marvel, and then, like, I don't know, like, I literally find almost any other given character more interesting than Spider-Man as a character. Not that I discredit him, but I just...
No,
I don't know.
I get you. I understand.
He's awesome. Like, he's a dope character with a cool abilities, and like he has very good stories, and like all that. But it's not there for me for him. I don't know. Whereas with the Hulk, dude, if anything new like came out with the Hulk in it, immediately I would get it as soon as I could.
Okay.
In whatever way I could get it.
All right. Yeah. I know. Yeah. Most definitely.
Like, I want a Hulk Ultimate Destruction remaster, and tell me you wouldn't buy it.
I would totally buy that. Yes, I would.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I can't believe I haven't tried to get that on my GameCube because I have my game. I could try to order it.
Yeah, man.
It's probably expensive. Damn, dude, that game was so much fucking fun.
But worth it. So yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So for me,
you can skateboard on a bus, then jump up and kick it into a helicopter. And what else do you need me to say?
I don't know, but that's that. I'm all about complete and utter destruction.
If that doesn't sell you a game, then I don't know what will.
I get you there. I completely get you there. So for me, what I've been playing, I have just started through Last of Us Part 2. So I just started
right now.
No, like I started that today. Like I started playing okay. Or like I just recently got it. Like I had to wait for my Ellie edition to come in, which there will be an unboxing for that. And yeah, so like I'm going through Last of Us Part 2, and I'm going through my review of that. And we're going to be talking about kind of Last of Us Part 2 a little bit later in the episode. But yeah, no, I'm playing through Last of Us Part 2, and yeah, so that's what I just started.
I still got to start it. I just haven't had time.
So yeah, so I mean, again, I'm kind of preparing for that. I've pretty much this is pretty much what I'm going to be spending most of my time playing. So that way. The review will go up, and yeah, so there's that. So yeah, are you ready to go ahead and get this started?
Oh, I'm ready.
Sweet. All right, let's begin with what we always begin with. News of the nation!
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Woo, that was good. All right. Let's begin. So the first topic is that Sony will be redesigning the PS5 UI entirely. So they're not going to just they're not taking the. Well, here, let's get into this. From The Verge, Sony is promising to redesign the PS5 dashboard with no pixel untouched. Sony showed off the PS5 console design during the reveal that they got, and one of the things that was cool is that during the presentation we saw that press the PS button, and I think that was before Astrobot. That was it. And what has been said is that McLaurin, um, who is the VP of UX design at PlayStation. He's promising an overhauled user interface for the PS5, describing the new software interface as, quote, a very interesting evolution of the OS. It's a 100% overhaul of the PS4 UI and some very different new concepts. And that was in a LinkedIn thread, so they're looking for people to help them out doing that. As its UI, it's practical first, but it's a whole new visual design and a complete re-architecturing of the user interface. The new PS5 OS is more subtle than flashy, but no pixel is untouched, he adds. And he's going to be showing off the OS to the Sony team very soon. And yeah, so pretty much we may not be getting that XMB bar that we've had for the past 2 generations, because the PS3 changed it to have that XMB bar first. That's what they created it on, and then for the PS4 they kind of just simplified it, made it much smoother, better looking, not kind of so plain. Because I love the XMB bar.
PS3, I think without a doubt that PS3 was the most like convoluted menu system I've ever fucking seen.
Mm-hmm.
There was so much in so many different places. Like, I mean, it's not like you couldn't get used to it, but I feel like I honestly don't like know what they were thinking with it.
Yeah, I'm glad that with the PS4 it makes so much more sense. Mind you, I will say I like the XMB bar. Like even past gen on the 360 and PS3, I get it because like, and maybe I'm just used to PlayStation. Maybe that could be the case. But like the XMB bar on the PS3, and then like you had like on the 360 you kind of had tabs. So like you had like your game, and then you had your social.
Yeah,
and then
starting back.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least that's what they were called.
Yeah. But I will say, compared to PS4, Xbox One, oh, the PS4 looks so much smoother and much nicer, and I know where everything is. Where Xbox, I'm just like, all of these squares is everywhere. What is happening? And that's just a personal thing for me. Like, if you disagree, that's totally fine. Like, you can go ahead and be like that. I just personally think the PS4 XMB bar just looks much better than on the Xbox One, and that's a personal preference.
Oh, sure.
So that's gonna be so great. Like, and I'm not surprised, but like they're saying it's going to be completely different. It's not just, all right, we're going to take what we did for PS4 and just finesse it a little bit. Like, nope, it's a redesign entirely. So that's nice. All right, but let's move on.
To look forward to.
Yeah. Just next topic. These are just a kind of a few little tidbit announcements that we have gotten. So the next one that we have is Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, which is a rhythm game for the Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. Square Enix put out an announcement trailer, pretty much showing what it is. So, and it's a Japanese trailer, and you can go ahead and watch it. I'll leave a link to that trailer also in the description with all the sources. And pretty much it's a rhythm game, so you go to each different world, and you of course control Donald, Goofy, and Sora, and you're going through it, and you're just kind of it's button prompts. It's very much similar to the Final Fantasy theater rhythm. What?
I mean, the one I saw looked like a Guitar Hero type thing.
It's more in line to.
Well, it very well may differ from world to world, though. They might have different setups, like visually. There's a lot of ways to do the same thing when it comes to rhythm games.
Yeah, but
which is why.
Yeah, it's in the same vein, but it's similar, but it is its own thing.
Would it be more like Project Diva, like Hatsune Miku type thing, where it's kind of like going across the screen?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, again, I haven't played that game, but I think I know what you mean. So, But yeah, so there's that. That's been announced. We've been getting a lot of announcements this summer. Um, also, on to the next topic. Ratchet and Clank Rift. No, I'm sorry. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart will have a new playable character. So we saw in that trailer that there was a female Lombax, that female version of Ratchet. She is a playable character in Rift Apart. She will also be a playable character. Insomniac put out a tweet saying, "Play as Ratchet and a mysterious new female Lombax from another dimension." Um, so hey, there's that. You get to play as a new character. Um, so yeah, there's that. The next one that I got is next topic. Horizon Forbidden West aims to launch in 2021. So we saw that amazing trailer for Horizon Forbidden West, which, oh my god, I cannot wait for that game. Like, so excited.
It, look,
Um,
it looks very good.
oh god. And so the game director, and I'm probably gonna mess this up, so I apologize, but it's I believe it's Mathis de Jonge. He pretty much shared the same trailer that was shown at the PS5 event, but he offered some director commentary, pretty much to his Twitter or social media or whatever it would be. Pretty much, he says that the PS5 SSD solid state drive will, but because of that, there will be virtually no loading screen. So if you open a map to fast travel, you'll be there instantaneously. While Guerrilla hasn't announced a release date, Forbidden West won't be a launch title for the PS5, which will be coming out this holiday. But Guerrilla is aiming for a 2021 release date for this sequel. So that's rad. If they like next year, in 2021, we get Forbidden West, I'm about that. Oh my god, I can't wait.
Absolutely.
Um, let's see. Also, did just to continue off of PS5? Did you see the Crash Bandicoot trailer? The Crash 4 It's About Time trailer or no?
No, I have not.
Oh man, dude, it's great. It's awesome. I have my reactions of it up on the channel. So go check that out. But oh man,
Sure.
like like it really is a brand new Crash Bandicoot game being made by Toys for Bob, which was the guys who did the Spyro Reignited trilogy. And like in the trailer it shows like there's new masks that in the game. There's new masks and they give Crash and Coco like armor sets and like the masks give them different powers or abilities. And so like one of them I believe like freezes time, so like you have um like in the
So,
game.
like, basically adding some kind of RPG elements type of thing, it
No,
seems
it's
like.
it's adding new elements to platforming. Meaning, so like
Oh,
you,
okay.
so like for instance, they showed an ice level, and there's icicles with platforms that are falling from the sky, from the ceiling, whatever. And with this mask, you can pause time to be able to use them as jumping platforms to the next one. Um,
Mm.
there's a mask that allows you to wall run. They show in the trailer like you can just like wall run across things, um, or like kind of go on the seal, like you kind of have anti gravity, that kind of stuff. It looks so good. I saw the trailer for it. I'm excited. I'm so excited for this, and I've been waiting. Like in
Yeah.
the best part about it is that it looks so smooth. This looks like they really are trying to keep to the base that Naughty Dog had, where like Wrath of Cortex is fine, but I feel like when I played Wrath of Cortex back on the PS2, and I just feel like they kind of used it as a base, but it was just like, okay, well we know the mechanics, let's just use those mechanics. It didn't like play. It was really clunky. Where the original games felt really smooth, regardless of PS1 or the current Insane trilogy. Like, oh god, that trailer looks so good.
I'll have to check it out.
Oh, dude, it's great. Oh man, but yeah. let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. Next topic is that Cyberpunk 2077 has now been delayed again to November, I believe November 19th of, oh yeah, November 19th of 2020. The game director, or actually, pretty much they put out a tweet on the Cyberpunk 2077 Twitter. And they have this like little letter that's saying, and pretty much what it says that we have decided to move the launch of Cyberpunk 2077 from September 17th to November 19th. So it's about 2 months. Those of you familiar with the way that we make games know that we do not ship something which is not ready. Ready when it's done is not a phrase we say because it sounds right. It's something that we live by even when we know we'll take the heat for it. At the same time, we are fully aware of making such decision costs us your trust, and trading trust for additional time is one of the hardest decisions for a game developer to make. And despite we think it's the right decision for the game, we'd still like to apologize for making you wait longer. Our intention is to make Cyberpunk 2077 something that will stay with you for years to come. In the end, we hope you understand why we did what we did. At the time we are writing these words, Cyberpunk 2077 is finished both content and gameplay-wise. The quest, the cutscenes, the skills, and items, all the adventures Night City has to offer, it's all there. But with such an abundance of content and complex systems interweaving with each other, we need to properly go through everything, balance game mechanics, and fix a lot of bugs. A huge world means a number of things to iron out, and we'll spend the additional time doing exactly that. This week, journalists from all over the world are starting to independently play the game. We are eager and quite stressed to hear their opinions, as well as see your reactions when they publish their previews right after we air the Night City Wire on the 25th of June. We hope this will satisfy some of your hunger for the game as we work to polish it for the November launch. Thank you from Marcin Iwinski and Adam Badowski, who is the co-founder and head of studio at CD Projekt Red. So pretty much they said that the game is finished, like it's done, but they're doing a lot of ironing out to make sure there's no bugs, no problems, all of that, which good for them. I have no problem.
I'm 100% behind everything they said. That was probably one of the most flawlessly written, like versions of what could be said for a game taking longer that I've ever heard. Like, I know. And that's not an exaggeration. Like their choice of words and how they explain it, like, dude, like, because I'm always about I'll wait. It's a game. I'll wait longer for it to be better,
exactly,
rather than pay for something I'm not gonna like and then have buyer's remorse. Like what? Because like what's the trade off you're making there? It's like, oh, well, if I would have waited. And if they would have done, took more time, it would have been worth all the money, if not more, that I paid, or however you acquired it.
Mm.
But like, if it comes out and it's bad, and you buy it, even if you wanted it sooner, and it's not up to your expectation, then you're in a worse spot than if you would have just waited.
Exactly. I have no problem with.
Like they basically I just love it how like elegantly they basically broke down, like, listen, you don't make games, we do. We want to make a good game for you, and whether or not you're like in a hurry to get it is not going to basically do anything to help the game being better if it were to come out before we know it should. And obviously that's all dependent upon what an individual game developer's standards of quality are. But obviously, CD Projekt Red is probably like number one, if not like top three in that regard, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, like the best part about it is, so like they even say like ready when it's done. It's not a phrase that sounds right. It's not a catchphrase. It's something they live by. So they take a stance on what they believe in, kind of their stances as a company, as a developer. They say that the game is done, so they even tell you where they're at right now, that the game is finished.
But no, I think that they're extreme, like doing like exactly what they said. Like the game is done, good, but they're like, we need to play the game now and make sure every experience, because that's what, like, when games come out as glitch fest, that's basically what didn't happen with those, is that like they're like, all right, it's all done, and they didn't like thoroughly like poke and prod and test it like to the utmost like they could, because it would be able to go out sooner if they did. Like that's probably 2 months. That's 2 months worth of testing. So it's like if someone like think yourself in their position where you'd basically be like, I'm going to be the gamer now, not just the game developer. I'm going to play this for 2 months and see what happens.
And you got to try to break the game. Like, that's what testers do. Testers
if you find shit, it has to have time to get remedied, which is also probably why, like, I mean, honestly, 2 months is being generous on their part. Game design on that level is something like I can only sort of fathom, like, because of how many people are involved in all the moving parts having to come together to make essentially one thing.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I agree with you there. Kind of continuing off of Cyberpunk 2077, off of this really great just announcement of just like why it got delayed. Like, yes, it does suck. It does suck that it did get delayed. But as we have said...
But you know what? I think it's kind of a blessing because I'll have time to potentially like finish all the other huge-ass games that I have.
Yeah, exactly.
Before that would conceivably consume me entirely.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Like, there's like, especially like, now it's been pushed to November. Now it's going to be even crazier. Like... September kind of begins that crazy fall month of like, okay, all the games come out. Like, it's really like August, September, but October, November, that's why they call it Broketober. Like all of the big games, all the annual, like the Call of Duty, Madden, FIFA, so on and so forth, like all those games come out at that time. And they're pushing it into pretty much the middle of it. So, I think they believe in their game so much also that they're like, yeah, we're going to push it to November, not only because we want it to be fixed, but also we believe that this game will sell. And I think it will. I think it's going to be Witcher. It's going to be Witcher 3 all over it.
If you don't believe that game will sell regardless of how long it takes to come out, then you don't know anything about marketing.
No, I get you.
Dude, honestly, I think what it boils down to is that CD Projekt Red just came out with the most humble big dick energy that you can have.
Humble big dick energy. Not just big dick energy, it's humble big dick energy. I like it. So, to continue on to that, next topic is that Cyberpunk 2077 will be having a robust next-gen upgrade that will come out in 2021, and it will look better on next-gen consoles on day one. So, this is from Gematsu, and the CEO, Adam Kaczynski, he answered a bunch of questions concerning the new release date and the compatibility of this game on the PS5 and X and the Series X, which this game is going to be able to be played on those. So pretty much what they're doing is that he is not worried about launching it on next gen. And there is an article in the sources that you can go ahead and read the full thing. I'm gonna go through bullet points on this. So he kind of says regarding to the launching on the next gen consoles, he for launching for next gen consoles, he's not worried about it. This generation is different from the move to the PS3 to PS4 or 360 to Xbox One, where you had to kind of start from scratch. Now it's going to be a little bit easier. If there is engineering work to be done, it will be playable. From the get-go on both consoles. So in fact, we look at it more as an opportunity. Because we're going to be targeting both the owners of the current gen consoles and the next gen consoles, and we're hoping to be the biggest.
Again, humble big dick energy. It's like we're gonna give you something that's everything you want it to be, and then we're gonna make it better.
Yeah, and what makes this even better is that it's free upgrade. Like it's going to be playable on both PS4 and PS5, which is awesome. Kind of then continuing off of that, it'll look better. It says it'll be running on both PS4 and PS5 from launch date, just as it will run on the current Xbox and the next Xbox, so this Xbox One and the Series X. It'll look better on the next-gen consoles from day one. The technicalities behind it are a little bit different from what the question described, but probably no point in going into detail about it. And I can confirm that this is not the final update. At some point, we're going to have a more robust update for the next-gen consoles, which we are planning to give free of charge to anyone who purchases the PS4 or Xbox One version. But in any case, you'll be able to play the game on next-gen on the 19th of November when the game releases, and it'll look better on next-gen consoles from that point. To be honest, we don't know when
that might be another reason why they pushed it forward, is to be able to have time to get a head start on all of that.
Exactly.
To be able to have it ready for after it launches.
Exactly. And then it kind of talks about potential of expansions or DLC. Yes. We haven't specifically mentioned the number of DLC. We prefer to call them expansions as the bigger than the typical DLC. But of course, the fact that the launch of Cyberpunk has been moved in proportion will in proportion move the release of such expansions. We have not actually made any specific announcements on when that is planned, but since these are actually being developed, these are not any carved out pieces we keep in the drawer, so to say. They have to be made, and they will happen later. And when it comes to the multiplayer expansions, its launch is going to be proportionally delayed as well. Although multiplayer is a bit more distant anyway, so that's a bit of a thing in the future anyway. So pretty much anyway, when the game comes out on November 19th, you're playing single player. You're playing the campaign. That's what you're doing. We have discussed this on past episodes of Dualshock'd before, where there is a multiplayer component to it, but it's not going to come out day one. It's going to be later. So that's awesome. Again, I agree. Look at this humbled big dick energy, as Guru Blaze states it. Like, what do you think about all this?
I mean, pretty much that. Like, I mean, they have a plan in place, and they know that any animosity for a longer wait period is going to be immediately forgotten once the product is everything that players want. And they realized that, and they explained it in a way that, like, logically you can't really argue with. But it's, I think, reading between the lines, I basically think it's just like, you're going to be happy that we put the extra time into this.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, that I completely agree with you there. Like, it's taking the time to get that done, to really make sure everything is finished, complete.
Taking the time to make sure it's worth the time.
And I honestly, overall, I think people understand that. Like, as a whole, people understand that and agree with that. Yes, of course, that, like, people can be upset, but I think as a whole, most people are like, yeah, wait, like us, like, give us the time. Go ahead. We want a good game. So, yeah. Let's move on. Next topic is that Ghost of Tsushima has now gone gold. On Ghost of Tsushima's Twitter account, which is Sucker Punch's. So, Sucker Punch's Twitter account. Sorry. Pretty much they put out a tweet. Says, we're thrilled to announce that hashtag Ghost of Tsushima has gone gold. This is the culmination of years of hard work from our team, and we can't wait to get it into your hands on July 17th. And it's a picture of pretty much all the developers and the team members for Ghost of Tsushima from Sucker Punch. So, I'm excited. That game looks so good.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to play that. That's like right up there. That's right up there with Cyberpunk for like what I'm anticipating.
Oh, man, it's going to be so good. I can't wait. Oh, man, it's going to be so good, so good, so good. So, yeah, like, good, awesome. It's gone gold. It's ready. It's going to come out awesome. Let's move on. Next topic is that Ready at Dawn has been acquired by Facebook/Oculus, which is the same company, pretty much by Facebook. In a tweet from pretty much one of the heads, the founder and CEO of Ready at Dawn, he pretty much had tweeted out a picture and a tweet saying, "Nearly 17 years ago, we embarked on a journey to build a game studio. Along the way, we innovated on genres, experiences, games, and platforms. Today, we are excited to join the Facebook family as we open a new chapter in our story and continue to pursue our passions." And then along with that, Oculus put out their own like blog post, pretty much welcoming them to the team. Pretty much what they did is that they did a game called Lone Echo, which was I believe it's a VR game, or Echo Arena, Echo Combat. They made some VR games for the Oculus, and they've been making games for the Oculus Rift since 2017. Lone Echo, Echo Arena, Echo Combat, and Lone Echo 2, which is currently in development. Which are all of which feature Ready at Dawn signature ZOG continuous locomotion system and full body inverse kinematics, the IK. With Facebook's latest advancements in VR technology, Ready at Dawn can readily explore a future of rich and immersive original VR content. And it just pretty much explains why they pretty much took Ready at Dawn from PlayStation. I'm not entirely sure if PlayStation owned Ready at Dawn or if it was one of those like contract deals. I think they were owned by. They were owned by PlayStation. I'm sorry, I'm just second guessing myself. But I guess because Order 1886 did not review well or critically sell well or like commercially sell well. And then the Vita, because they also did Golden Abyss on the Vita, which is, I love that game on the Vita, but the Vita itself was a kind of a failed system. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, because now I'm just like, okay, so now they're completely acquired by Facebook. It's not like it's like PlayStation doesn't have them anymore. So I'm not going to be seeing that Order 1886 sequel, whatever that would be. Like, I guess that's just there now. I don't know.
Well, I don't have a VR yet, so I guess it doesn't affect me too much.
Well, like, but like it's for the Oculus, so it's not like I'm surprised too, because they're making VR games, which PlayStation has that. So if they want to
Probably
make,
probably boils down to more money.
it probably does. It probably does, because Ready at Dawn isn't really one of like the apex. Like when I think PlayStation, I don't think Ready at Dawn. Ready at Dawn is very much kind of like on the lower tier when it comes to like PlayStation's first party studios. Guerrilla before Horizon Zero Dawn was kind of the game. Like Killzone was fine, but like I don't really like Killzone didn't really do well, because I know Killzone was trying to be just PlayStation's Halo, which worked, but it didn't all at the same time. Like it didn't grab as many people. So,
well, it's because Halo came first.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you're not wrong. And like the prime example of that is Killzone Shadowfall when it launched with the PS4. Like that game, people bought that game just because, oh, I need a game for my PS4, but it's very just okay at best. It's gorgeous. It's graphically gorgeous, but again, a lot of those games at launch were tech demos, where I think I think with the PS5 launch, because it said Miles Morales is a holiday 2020 game, which means I would believe a launch title to go, an exclusive launch title to go with the PS5, which is phenomenal. And if you just have the base of the original Marvel Spider-Man as your base, then you're fine. Like honestly, I I think that like we have some better exclusives starting out this generation than we did the last generation. But I guess only time will tell. Um, so yeah, that's man, that makes me upset. I'm like, god dang it, I'm not gonna get my sequel to Order 1886, and I know I'm in a small boat for that. I'm not like a lot of people don't like Order 1886. I thought it was fun, and I thought it was, as I've said before, I'll say it again, a great first act to a bigger story. And I guess I won't be getting Act 2, I guess. All right. Well, let's move on. Next topic is that Last of Us Part 2 has been getting reviewed bombed. So, as we have said before, Last of Us Part 2 has come out already. And critically, when we look at the critic scores, it has a critic score of 95, but for the user score, which currently at date of recording, is a 4.1 user score. So it's still very low. I do remember at day one, when it first came out on the 19th, or maybe the day after, it was only about like a 3.5. Like it was around the threes. And it was just getting reviewed bombed to death. Like, I'm not gonna go into it. You can go to Metacritic and look at it, but I'm just gonna kind of go through. It's just 0, 3, 0, 4, 3, 0, 3, 0, 0, 0, 4, 0, 0, 0, 4, 0, 4, etc. Like it just goes on with these very low numbers, and I do see a lot of like some people do explain them, but there are others who kind of just, it's like one sentence comments or whatever. Now, I am right now playing through Last of Us Part 2, and I will be doing my own review of the game a bit later. It'll be coming out a bit later. And I'm not going to state my opinions of what I played right now, because I kind of want to just let this soak in, and I will give my full responses in the review. So I bring this up because we've seen review bombings again. Before we get deeper into that, what do you think of this, Guru Plays? Like, what do you think of, like, just kind of like hearing? And again, I haven't looked at the. Oh, I have seen them, but I'm not going to bring them up because those are their opinions, and everyone has their own right to their own opinions for this. But what do you think about this, Guru Plays?
I mean, since I haven't started it, like, I used to be more looking into reviews on a general basis for games, and sometimes I will, but until I play it, I mean, like, it's hard to make a decision. I think that it's probably being blown out of proportion. It seems like, I mean, I can't imagine it being that bad. Like, it just seems like the volume of it, like, I feel like there's some ulterior reason. Like, it's hard to say, like, why it would get such negative reviews when it, like, everything points to it being great. So it's something I'm just gonna have to play and make a decision on my own.
The most that I know, like again, and I feel that the reason why this has happened is because of the leaks that we have talked about on previous episodes of Dualshock'd. Is that there was a leak back in May, leak came out for this game, and it was about May, maybe late June. But the game got leaked, and it was like about an hour and a half of story. It was of story, and people who saw it did not like it and the most I know about this is about how quote woke it is, the SJW that it is. I didn't look at the leaks. I'm not going to look at the leaks. And the game is out now, so I don't care. Like I don't care. But the game's out now, so while I'm playing through the game, like I'm gonna have my own opinions on it, and if you completely disagree with it, fine. That is your opinion, and yeah, I don't know. This is a really kind of tough thing to talk about. The other thing I want to bring up is that we have seen review bombings happen before. We have seen that review bombings where, like for instance, Warcraft 3 Reforged has the very kind of polar opposite of reviews. Let me go ahead and grab this. So like Warcraft 3 Reforged has like the lowest Metacritic score of a like period. Okay. But yeah, so like that game got reviewed bomb where it got like about in the 60s and 70s normally, and then it's like 0.3 for its own reviews. Like, what do you think of review bombing in general, Guru Blaze?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say because it's one of two things. It's a bunch of people trying to just throw shade on a game that didn't do what they wanted specifically, or it is just if a game is bad enough collectively, it may not even be a review bomb. It's just that everybody's disappointed. But I feel like more often than not, it would fall into the category of bandwagoning on a bunch of people that didn't like it or whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, because I pulled it up on Metacritic. The review score from critics of Warcraft 3 Reforged is a 59, where the user score is a 0.6, which is the lowest Metacritic user score in the site or on Metacritic. And like a lot of it, we've talked about this before. Like me and Spectre have talked about this in the past, where like the 59, like this score, this critic review score, I believe is very much what it is, because you're reviewing the game for the game itself, because like, and yes, it is bad, but the what props it up is the original amazing gameplay that it still is. It's not a completely different game. It has the same core gameplay mechanics that it has. But it has a lot of problems with how you can't play the old version now because the Reforged is now the standard. The online play is absolute garbage, and everything that they promised is nothing close to what they promised. So there's that. Like, I don't know. I just review bombing. I don't understand it. I think that's probably more of the thing is that
I guess for someone who's ever posts reviews on games, it's not a mindset that I just even really wrap my head around.
What do you mean?
Like, I don't post like you said. Like, I'm not a person who goes out of my way to go on sites to post reviews of stuff, like, ever. So it's like, for me, like, I wouldn't be able to understand, like, just like going out of your way to bandwagon on, like, just play the game. If you play the game and you don't like it, you want to say something, that's fine. But if you're taking others' opinions to form your own before you actually make your own about playing it, then you're basically just pleasuring yourself online.
I think kind of talking about reviews just for a little bit, is that I think the biggest problem is that people put a higher value of the number the number value, whether it's out of 5 or out of 10,
and what it actually might do for you. Like how a game might affect you, like, mentally, emotion wise, whatever it may be. Like, you can try to quantify everything a game can be with a number, but it's very arbitrary, and you really need to play a game and formulate your own. Like, a game that does nothing for someone might be someone else's, like, most engaging video game experience they've ever had. So it's like, it comes down to an arbitration. Like, you could take someone's review and like read the points about it, but it's like there's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path, you know, like until you actually play a game, there's no way you can really have your own like personally objective opinion on whether or not it would, you know, deserves a numerical value, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, like, like reviews are important because a lot of people use reviews to figure out, oh, what should I buy? Should I buy this game or should I not? But I think if you base your choices purely off the number, you're not really kind of warranting it, and it's good to look at other reviews, not just this one person or this one site reviews it. Like, we review games here too. And we use our number system. We base the games out of 5. And to us, it's much easier to kind of comprehend. If it's a 3, it's an average game. If it's a 1, it's a bad game. If it's a 5, it's a masterpiece. It's legendary. It's not perfect, because there is no such thing as a perfect game. But it's about as close as you'll get. Exactly. But what's more important is what comes before that number, is what we talk about, is like, oh, like the gameplay mechanics, the sound, the presentation, the story, everything that is around that is before and around that score is far more important than that. So, and it's good to look at other reviewers to see whether people agree, people disagree, and if they disagree, what are the differences that the reviewers are saying. And I think that's what kind of comes down to. So, but yeah. So, anything else? Because that's all I got for the news.
That's all I got.
Sweet. All right, let's move on. This is our main topic. This is our PlayStation conversation. PlayStation.
Indeed.
Alrighty, Guru Blaze. So, we have been getting a lot of announcements, especially this month. We just had EA Play, we had the PS5 reveal, we had the Unreal Engine 5 announcement, new game announcements, so like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Star Wars Squadrons, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, remastered, so on and so forth. We have like just a bunch of them. And the way that kind of games are being announced this year is very different now. It is because of the pandemic, because we're all locked inside of our houses. So we can't like go and do E3 like normal. But I wanted to first, before we kind of dig deeper into that, first let's talk about EA Play, and because that just happened. What did you think about EA Play? Because I did my reactions to it as a whole. Like, I watched it and like kind of gave my final thoughts. Looking back and kind of letting it sit a little bit more, because my final thoughts were raw reactions right after it happened. And I said that the event was solid. It was good. Like, I enjoyed it, and like it hit. But like, really, looking back on it, the only things I was like, what do I remember? What did I really enjoy? It was Star Wars Squadrons, the announcement of Skate 4, and probably the EA Originals. Which was basically almost the whole thing. And mind you, they showed a trailer of Star Wars Squadrons beforehand. Like, we got a trailer, and then they gave a gameplay trailer, which kind of explained the modes and everything in it, which looks great. But really, like, those are the only two. Like, really, was Skate, the new Skate game, and Star Wars Squadrons. I personally like the EA original games. Like, I love A Way Out, I love Unraveled, 1 and 2. What else? The Sea of Solitude is great. Like, all these EA originals are fantastic. So like seeing like Lost in Random, which is like a Burton-esque looking game, and then the game by Hazelight, which is It Takes Two. That one looks very interesting, but like again, we didn't see a lot. I think so. I don't know. What did you think of EA Play 2020?
I mean, pretty much the same. Like, Star Wars looks interesting, and I mean, Skate 4 Obviously, I mean, they say it's in super early development, but
Mm-hmm.
it's encouraging that that's going to happen because I very much enjoy the Skate franchise.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, and yeah, some of their originals looked interesting, like you said, but it's like especially with It Takes Two, there just wasn't that like there was a little bit of gameplay, but it was mostly like the designer developer talking about a bunch
Yeah.
of stuff,
Yeah.
which is fine. Like it depends on how much they actually had to show. You know, it's something's better than nothing, but it looks intriguing, but there's like virtually not enough to really even make a solid opinion on.
Yeah, like it was just one of those like it was just this looks cool, but I want to know more. It's just it's and maybe that's the point, but like it wasn't a lot. It was really more of the head developers from Hazelight, Zoink, and then we did get Rocket Arena, which was from Final Strike Games. Um we just got trailers of it, and mind you, they did give more Final Strike on their own YouTube channel. Like they actually went like, "All right, if you want to know more, go here. We're going to spend a lot more time talking about them." Like, okay, well, there's that. But like for Hazelight and Zoink official, like specifically, it was just here's Lost in Random, here's It Takes Two, which I'm honestly much more intrigued by out of the three, um, because I don't really play online like multiplayer games like that. So yeah, I mean, it was just kind of like fine. I said at the end that this showcase that it was solid. EA Play 2020 was solid, and and I said that, and I said that it was solid because of the presentation itself. It was 1 hour, and I kind of explained it a little bit at the end, but I kind of want to clarify it a little bit more. Excuse me. It was for an hour, and we got game after game after game after game. So they're just going through. You got Apex, you got the EA originals, you got like, oh, this game is coming to Steam, and this game is coming to Steam, and this is going to be crossplay, and this is going to be crossplay. And then they spend the most time on Star Wars EA originals, and then you had the big announcement at the end. They showed off a tiny trailer from Madden and FIFA, which was like football, and then they showed off just a trailer saying that yeah, Criterion, BioWare, and a few others are working on next gen games, but we don't know what they are. They didn't say anything about it. It was just little tech demos, tech trailers, whatever it would be. Fine, but I did say that that it was solid because it was quick. It was 1 hour. It was really fast. It was really quick. Was there a lot of big announcements? No. Could you probably cut that down to half an hour? Probably. But it is what it is. But it wasn't like last year in 2019, which was fine. But like what happened is that like they at E3 in 2019, the way they did is that they had like a whole day set up for them. So like this from this time to this time is Madden or EA Sports. From this time to this time is Apex. From this time to this time was Jedi Fallen Order. This time to this time was Sims. Like at least by doing that, you can skip whatever you want. You can skip Madden. You can skip Sims. You can skip whatever. Or you can skip Star Wars if you wanted to. Like whatever. So you can choose what you want to, which is fine. If I had to choose between what we got at 2019 versus 2020, I would rather have a 1 hour, tiny little short press briefing instead of whatever we got at EA Play 2019. And I used, and so, which would you agree, Guru Blaze, or like, do you remember what? Like, do you remember?
Oh yeah, I agree. Like again, you could always choose to watch them. Like watch the particular. Like if we're going off last year's presentation, you could choose to watch what you want. But I prefer just like one comprehensive thing because I have a life to live, and I don't always. It's like if I may want to know about something, but if I don't want to sit down and have to engage hours of my time, when like a 1 hour long thing that kind of
Yeah.
just touches on the bigger points of everything. Like there's some, like I'm not saying like there's not something to be said for getting those in-depth looks, but for me personally, it's like being able to watch it a lot in a shorter amount of time is just more efficient.
Yeah, and that's and that's totally fine. And really, compared to E3 2019 and now, like we've been getting drip fed announcements. Like, let's see, let me go ahead and pull up my calendar. I have it on my phone over here. Um, let's see, like in May, or I'm sorry, yeah, like in May, we kind of had a little bit of like a little bit of an opening. So like we had like 1 week. It was like in the middle of May. Like we had the announcement of Tony Hawk Pro Skater and the Unreal Engine, and then the day after we got Ghost of Tsushima. 2 weeks later, we got Last of Us State of Play, which was the Ghost of Tsushima State of Play also. And then this month, like it's been nuts. So like we had the Star Wars Squadron announcement. We had the EA Play 2020. We had the announcement of the PS5. And then like today we got like, or like, day of recording, whatever it would be, like we had the announcement of Crash and a few other things. Like it's been drip fed. It's not all in one big weekend. And I honestly, in my
I think the biggest benefit of like the drip feed over like the big show is that you're going to retain more, and it's easier to like get more like information and into something specific, like when it comes out by itself, as opposed to getting lost in a huge sea. Like when you have every gaming company and everything they're doing in 1 3-day period.
Yeah.
Like, not to say that it isn't, the spectacle can be fun, and like they do, the presentations can be much more, interesting and interactive, but you get a lot more information efficiently, like when you're able to pay attention to like a smaller thing, and then you have a little bit of a reprieve before something else comes out. So like you can get excited about something and not just, you basically like lose your mind trying to be like, like what is, like all of the different things that are going on with everything, and then comparing them all. Like you get more time as a consumer to try to like hash out what'll be the best option for you.
Yeah, I mean, and like it's like the spectacle about it. Like I mean, again, I'll never forget E3 2016. That was like I'll never forget that. That was amazing, especially PlayStation. PlayStation knocked it out of the park that year, because that was the year they announced pretty much all the best games on their console. Resident Evil 7, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Last Guardian, so on and so forth. Like those are just 4 that pop out of my head right away.
Yeah, that was a good one.
More like again, more Horizon Zero Dawn, whatever. Like I remember, I won't forget that one. Or even like E3 2013, which was pretty much the E3 that announced the PS4 and the Xbox One. PlayStation knocked it out of the park that day because they just pretty much undercut Xbox, regardless if that was already planned or not. Who knows? But like that was amazing. So like the spectacle is warranted, but like in a general sense, like maybe this year would it have been cool to kind of have an E3 and then you have PlayStation and Xbox kind of going at it? Yeah, but I think I like this because now they're playing a game of chess instead of checkers right now. Because now they're kind of figuring out like, okay, well, Xbox announced their system in December. Mind you, that was before the pandemic, and then the pandemic happened. So now it's like, okay, now we're locked in our houses and we can't be around people. How do we do this now? And like getting these announcements digitally, one, it's more cost efficient. You're not spending thousands upon millions of dollars to like buy a space in an arena or in a conference hall to like have space. So there's that. So it's much cheaper to just kind of create a trailer. And then 2, the way that it's being done right now is this drip feed, very slow. It's like here's Ghost of Tsushima, here's Last of Us, here's the PS5 reveal, here's this, here's that. Like it's not all at one time. Because I remember, like, my God, after the week of E3, I would be exhausted. I would just be like, like it's just exhausting when E3 happens, because it's just like it's just so much is coming at you, and like you're reacting and you're seeing things and you're getting hype and excited or whatever it would be. But like this is much nicer, and that this is just my opinion. I don't know if you agree, Guru Blaze, but like,
No, I think it's. I mean, like again, it's cool to have a live spectacle, but I honestly like have no problem with like just having a spaced out. Everybody does their own thing, and just it's not all the money. All the money that's not being put into the show is just being saved and proud. It's like they're just putting more resources into what they're showing you, like because they know that since they're not doing a live entertainment thing, that it's all about the the bare bones of it. You can have people on there, but people aren't going to watch too much of that if they're not seeing any gameplay.
exactly, and like honestly, and like it's the when it's all shotgunned out, you're reacting to it like right one after another, like right away. Where with this, you can let it sit. You can let the announcement of Tony Hawk sit. The announcement of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, like you can soak it in much better. You can keep it with you more than all this stuff got announced, and then you're like, okay, what do I remember? It's this, that, and the other, and it's really only the biggest things, or like kind of the craziest announcements. You're like, what? Oh my god! Like, what? Like, I'm trying to remember E3. Like, I'm like, what happened at E3 2013 that I remember? And I'm like, Keanu Reeves came out. That was rad. PlayStation wasn't even at E3, so there wasn't that.
Microsoft brought out that Lego car, which was cool.
Yeah, there was that. What like Ubisoft? I don't remember. Well, Gods and Monsters is probably the only thing. EA, they showed off Fallen Order. Yeah, like I barely remember 2019. Like I don't remember anything like that, and it's because there's just so much, and also maybe because they didn't really have much. There can be those years where it's just like we have these announcements and the stuff, but now you also the one of the bad things about E3 is that you have to have something to announce there. So it's like, okay, we need to have something. Crap,
Yeah.
what do we have? Oh, this, use this. Where with this kind of like how with what the pandemic has done to us, you can just announce your stuff when you're ready, which is much better. You don't like, oh, we have to make sure we land at this first weekend in June. It's nope. It's if we want to do it in July, we can do it in July. If we want to do it in August, we can do it then too. Like whatever it would be. It's much better. I like it far more.
Indeed.
Any other thoughts, concerns? You've been like quiet. I'm trying to
honestly. Oh no! you're basically. We're just in agreement pretty much all today. So it's like I can only add so much without saying the same thing twice.
True. Hey, and sometimes that can happen. That can totally happen. There's nothing wrong with kind of agreeing on something. I'm just kind of thinking of can you play like I'm trying to think of like Devil's Advocate, but like. Because the thing is that you see they're all shotgunned all at once.
Well, it's like I've never been. I've always wanted to go to E3. I would still like to do that if possible at some point in the future. But I've never. I don't go every year. I've never been. It's fun to watch, but even when I, do watch it, like when I would be watching just a live recording of the show, and it's not like I was so gung ho. I have to see every single minute of this. Like I would watch parts and pieces, like more often than not.
Yeah.
So it's really just kind of like catering to what I was kind of doing anyway, but putting like more information in the smaller amount of time that I'd be spending with it. So for me, it honestly, I'm indifferent. I could go either way, but it's ultimately more efficient to have the current system of just drip feeding and having an hour long thing that talks about several things, and there's like very little fluff in between because there's no reason to put money into the extras because it's not what it was.
Yeah.
So it's just all about content that they're want to interest you in, and they know that, which means that that's what they're going to put the time into.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I think I said pretty much everything I need to say. I don't know if there's really much else.
Yeah, that's about it.
I think right now it's just it's Last of Us is the kind of the big thing right now, and that's good. That's fine. Good and bad. And I guess within the next week or two, we'll be able to be talking more about The Last of Us Part 2, because the review will be coming up a bit later, and later on the week or whatever it would be. I'm not entirely sure, but like I'm working through the game right now. So yeah, that's about it. Any final words, Guru Blaze?
I think that The Last of Us 2 is not going to be as bad when I play it. At least I hope so.
Okay. I like
that. What a lot of people are saying. I'm happy CD Projekt Red is doing what they should do when it comes to making great quality games. And Ghost of Tsushima is going to be badass.
Yeah! All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please go ahead and let us know what you guys think. Do you guys kind of agree with how things are changing coming to announcements this summer? Do you think we should have an E3 2021, or would you want something more akin to what we have currently? Please let us know in the comments. We would love to hear from you. But guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. YouTube.com/BrotherhoodGeeks. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell your buddy, tell your friend, tell your brothers, tell your sisters, all that kind of good stuff. Tell everyone you know about the Brotherhood Geeks. Also, press the bell icon. That way, whenever we put up a video, you know we put up a video. You can also follow us on Facebook, which is Facebook.com/TheBrotherhoodOfGeeks. Posting stuff, all that kind of good stuff. And then you can also follow us on Twitter at Dualshock'dBOG. That's the name of our PlayStation podcast, Dualshock'd BOG. And then you can also follow us on Twitch when we stream at twitch.tv/brotherhoodofgeeks. Woo! All right. I think that's everything. Yeah. Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
Woo-wee! Ready to go ahead and get that going. Ready to go ahead and... Whoo, here we go. But yeah, anything else, Guru Blaze?
No, I think I spoke my piece.
Great. All right, then. Well, then. I'm Brett J. Rasmussen.
I'm Guru Blaze.
And as always, live to play, play together. We'll see you guys next time.